Welcome back to another episode of R&B Reviews.
My name is Ridwan.
I'm Brinder, and today we're going to be talking about episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, come back and see what we're talking about, leave some comments, and spoiler warning ahead, okay? But let's get started with episode 4. Did it live up to the episode 3 like you were hoping?
No, zero. I think episode 4 was a wow. Like there's a lot of wow factors to episode 4, but I definitely don't think it was as good and as interesting as episode 3 was. I don't think it locked me in the same way episode 3 did.
See, I have a different take. I think it was more interesting. Like I was like zoned in watching it, but yeah, I don't know. That's
Do you
weird.
think it was more interesting because of what happened in the episode? Like obviously, I guess that makes up an episode, but do you think it was more interesting because like, oh my god, like so many things happened, or do you think it was more interesting because like just the plot of the episode was interesting?
I think the plot was interesting. I think it had different angles from the show. Episode 3, I felt like I was in a Fast and Furious movie combined with with another type of movie. Like it didn't seem like Marvel fighting scenes, but different type of movie. So I didn't know, but I think it was much better in terms of the plot. It was very interesting. For example, like we opened up with Io and Bucky talking.
Yeah.
And there you go, like Wakanda's in the picture now, and they showed a little bit of background on Bucky, and Bucky can speak Wakandan if that's the language.
What's the language?
Sure.
I was gonna say Wakandanese.
I don't know, but then so the Dora Milaje and their goals, like they're there, they want Zemo. Like, what's your take on that?
I think like them coming in like and then giving him like yo, you guys got 8 hours to do everything you need to do, with 8 hours being like not a lot of time. Like if some like 8 hours, like you go to school lasts 8 hours, so I feel like they're kind of snake on that part. But I felt like the scene where I don't want to sound like I hate the show or anything like that, but the scene where Bucky was like she was speaking to Bucky, because I'm pretty sure that starts in the beginning.
It does.
And then she was saying like the numbers and words that turns Bucky into a evil person, and then seeing Bucky cry, like I didn't really feel like I could like that touched me. So I feel like that was like a miss of a scene. But then like seeing like the relation, I think it was supposed to build up on like the relation of Bucky with her,
Yeah.
and then how loyal he should feel towards Bucky. But I felt like that scene, I don't know, it just didn't make me feel like, yeah, like Bucky owes her everything. It just felt like she said a couple numbers and letters or numbers and words, and then she's just like, yo, Bucky, you owe me. But I understand like she did do a lot to free Bucky from
I think it was
situation.
just them in general just helping Bucky, and they're just building on their connection going forward. But in this one, like so Zemo and he knows who's after him. He knows what to do. For example, he doesn't give up information too early. He bides his time because he knows he has to play his cards right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to be captured or killed. And that's one of your favorite characters. I know that. 100%. So, what do you expect from him? Like,
going in, like, so what we start the scene off with, they go to Zemo's house. Someone brought up like a very good point. Like, the Bucky goes in and then he tells Zemo like, oh, okay, yeah, like we're being followed, etc., etc. And then whatever, they end up going to. Oh, I'm losing the train of thought. Oh no, I remember now. So they end up. I feel like that scene of like Zemo going back to like that area, because him being from that area and then like talking to the kids, I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting. Him going and like relating to the kids while these other people are afraid of these like Americans coming in, or these like Avengers coming in, like in their eyes, and then being afraid. I think they're trying to, I guess, stepping away from the Zemo and like stepping more into that scene, because that happens a little bit before. I think they were trying to build on the same thing Zemo was talking about in terms of his dislike for what's going on, his dislike for
super soldiers,
soldiers, and what's been happening with the Avengers and stuff like that. So I think these other people were trying to like expand on that, and I think they were also trying to expand on the fact that it's been 5 years, and something about like the blip and people coming back and what's going on with their like society. But going back to your question on like the Zemo thing, because I kind of strayed off a little bit, I feel like Zemo is just gonna do something to make the show more interesting. I feel like you can obviously tell that he's gonna be another set of people going after these super soldiers. So I feel like or these fake super soldiers. So I feel like having like Zemo in there is just gonna make the plot more interesting. It makes things harder for Catherine because now it just adds another enemy to the list. But I was gonna ask you a question. So, what do you feel about like the plot and the reasoning of their why they do it? Because sometimes I was watching it and they were explaining like why they do what they do, but I'm kind of like lost when it comes to why they do what they do.
So from my take was the reason why they do the things that they do is in the first episode I had it a little bit wrong. This one cleared up my confusion. So pretty much during the blip, every country or most countries had less people, but they had a lot of resources. So like immigration wasn't an issue. They would welcome you with open arms. You'd go in. You could find a job easily. Housing, not a problem. They welcomed all that. They liked your support. You could have whatever job you want to build the economy back up and civilization back to normal. But then when the snap happens, everybody comes back. Now there's too many people. Now these governments don't give a shit. These people don't care. They want you to... They're just kicking them out and saying we don't want you anymore. So it's kind of like a... Sort of like an immigration refugee type of vibe that you get from it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But overall, that's what they're trying to say is like when everybody disappeared, we were one community, one people. Now everybody's back and you guys want to treat us differently. That's not the way things should be. So there's a lot of refugees. They don't call themselves refugees, but that's their situation at the moment. It's kind of hard to like connect with that because I'm not like my parents were immigrants, but like I was born here, so I don't resonate with that. But I don't know if you do.
I don't. To be honest, when I was watching it, I didn't really resonate with like their cause a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like because with the blip, there's like it's a two-edged sword because technically like yeah you gain all these benefits of like half the people being gone, but like there's a high chance that you've lost someone in the blip.
Yeah.
So then like I feel like it would be one of those situations where like dang like now I gotta be a refugee. But then you, on the other hand, you're like, oh, like now I got my brother back, like now I got my sister back, like now I got like my friends back or stuff like that. So I always wondered if they talk, like I was hoping that they would be like, oh, like I lost this person in the blip, but I got this, but I still feel like this cause needs to move on. But I felt like they only gained when the blip happened and they only lost when the blip happened. So I feel like I kind of missed that like that explanation of like even though we got our people back, we still are fighting for like the same equality that we finally got before.
Yeah, well, these guys feel strongly about it. They said they'd kill again if they'd have to.
Oh yeah.
Do it over again. But like moving on, so the fake Captain America, he was very annoying to me. Like when I was watching those scenes, and he was not taking charge like a leader would. He was so he wasn't taking charge like a leader would. He was more of like demanding things happen. And it was just very frustrating because I hate to be talked like that.
Yeah.
And I don't like Captain America himself, like Rogers wouldn't really stand for that. He'd be like, all right, man, this is not how it's going. Falcon did say that, but he kind of like scoffed at him when the fake Cap said,
yeah,
let's throw down, like we can square this up. I'll make it fair by throwing the like, bro. I'd slap that guy. That guy was so frustrating.
He's mad annoying.
He's so annoying. And then when the Dora Milaje come in, Io comes in with the spears. I was like, this is sick. I was like that was a fight scene that I was like, okay, like I want to see that because you don't really see Dora Milaje too much or people from Wakanda fighting, especially
like their style and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. So I like that. He finally got something coming to him because he was talking too reckless. Like I don't like when people do that stuff. But yeah, what do you feel about Captain America?
I feel like they just made him such a hateable character that it's just like no matter what he does, he's just unlikable. Like he can't do the least likable thing. Like even when he's like fighting in like a good situation or like trying to help, it's like you still don't like him. Yeah. So like I just felt like I was like, dang, like I guess that's the goal, to make him like 100% unlikable. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, dang, like I wanted to see more like.
I don't know if that's the goal, because they show a lot of like scenes where he's supposed to get like sympathy, like when they're talking about Afghanistan and what they had to do,
and in the mall, right?
In the mall, yeah. So things like that, like you're like, oh, he's a regular dude, and then he's a dick the next scene. It's like, what? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about him. All I know is I just don't like him at the moment, and I hope he gets like beat up heavy.
Honestly, like, I wanted to see him, like, in certain fighting situations, be more likable, because I felt like because he was a soldier, like, even in animes, when you watch animes, like, you have a character that's like super negative, super pessimistic, and super like they just hate everybody. But then you see them like when they're supposed to do something that's like for a good cause, like a fight. You're just like, oh, I like this character. Like, yeah. Even though they have like a negative personality, like at least like you understand that his goal is to make everything better. But like with this character, it just I never got the feeling that like he was just trying to like make the world better, but he was going about it in the wrong way.
He says the right things. Like he says it in the locker room when we were first shown him that like this is a big opportunity. He's just been a soldier. He's done everything. He has 3 medals of honor. In the mall, like we were discussing, he's talking about if he had the serum, he could save so many more people. Like,
did you feel like when he was saying that, did it come off as authentic to you, or did it feel like in that moment that it's just like
I was just like it was whatever. It was just because I don't have like too many thoughts on it because I don't know what I'm supposed to feel like. All I know is I don't like this guy, and he keeps saying sympathetic stuff to make me like him, and then he goes does like opposite stuff.
Completely opposite.
So I have no clue like what if they're pushing that, if the directors want that, but right now I just can say I just don't like him. So when the Durham Logic came in, gave him the 1-2, skipped to my Lou, he got it. And it was fun to watch.
She grabbed the shield too. I thought she was gonna walk off with the shield.
I thought one of them was gonna walk off with the shield, and then she hit Bucky with the little jiu-jitsu type of hits, and then his arm comes off, and I was like, whoa. And that was pretty sick. They talked about it. They're like, oh, did you know that? He's like, no, I didn't know that. How you not know that, man? Come on, like, that's your whole arm. She just took. She just made him look silly, like
super. She was. Like, I seen her pressing the buttons on his shoulders and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, you could kind of tell what was going to happen, and after boom, like, the arm just falls off. But I thought that was pretty cool, especially, like, seeing them fight and, like, focus on each other. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they were fighting to kill or just fighting to, like, not kill, because there's times where Bucky had to stop them from doing something, like, going over the line, and there's times when Sam had to stop them from going over the line. I think Baron Zemo was kind of slick. He took that as his opportunity, and he just away.
Nobody looked at him like, come on, like, you gotta look at the guy. He's slipped out of jail. He be doing weird things behind your back. You gotta watch him in the fight. Come on, man.
I feel like he's one of those that was so likable, like that, like people were like, oh, maybe I can't respect him. You know what? I thought it was smart when the Captain America like handcuffed him. I was like, I knew it wasn't.
You thought that was smart?
I knew it wasn't gonna work. But he was the only one that didn't fully trust him.
Yeah.
So like I was like, okay, at least he knows like I can't trust this guy.
I would have Lamar watch him. Like the handcuffs not gonna catch this guy.
That's true.
And he did one. He didn't do 2. Like you could have done both his hands and then another set to put him on top of something else. But whatever. He just did one hand and expected him to just stay there.
When you seen Zemo like finally get the vials, and we talked about this just a little bit. Mm-hmm. When you seen Zemo finally like get the vials and like his hate, like he has so much hate for super soldiers. Like I wish they went deep into it. Like you already know I like Zemo a lot, so I wish they had like a background story of like why he has so much hate towards super soldiers.
You know what they should have done? They should have done kind of like WandaVision stuff where they showed like a little bit of a flashback.
Yeah.
His like family dying, like as he's looking at the serum, because that's like. In his mind, that's the cause.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of Ultron and stuff, superheroes was the cause in his mind. So they could have done, like, he picks it up, and then he sees, like, he sees himself handing his kids off to his grandfather, and his wife passes, like, he's like, take care of my wife as well. And just them dying. Sorry, not his grandfather, but his father. They could have done something like that. That would like
to make it more powerful. To make that scene more powerful, like so, like when you see him actually grab the vials and then like stomp on it, you're like, that's crazy.
Because when you see that stuff, like you'd be like, you know what, he's right. Like I side with him in that moment. Even if you're not right, you side with him in that moment.
Funny enough, they do so well in the movies to make villains like that. Like especially with Thanos. Like Thanos was the perfect example. Like the perfect villain. So you would expect them to kind of like continue on like with his character development where. This guy's evil, but you're like, like, you can see where they're coming from, but they do. I felt like they did a terrible job. But low-key, I wanted Zemo to crush. I thought he should have been able to crush the vial in his hand. Like, I think that would have been way sicker. Like,
if he crushed it and then he takes some of it?
Not even takes, just crush it in his hand. Because he throws it on the ground and then stomps on it.
I like his little smirk when he does that. But we ended up seeing a lot of the Dora Milaje, and they gave us a little flashback. I think it was 6 years, timeline-wise, when Bucky was the White Wolf. So what do you think about them? Like, I personally like seeing more of what's going on with Wakanda, little hints here and there. Do you expect more of that? Where do they fall into this?
I feel like it was a little bit of fanfare, so I don't think we'll see too much of them. I think we'll see a decent, like an okay amount. Like, I think this episode will be like, we see a lot of them. Then I think it'll like skip a couple episodes, and then we'll see like one more fight with them, and then like Baron Zemo and like whatever arc they have with that. But honestly, I really like them as a group. Like, I felt like they were also like a likable group of characters that like came in, and you seen them and you're like, oh, like these guys are so cool. They're fighting. They beat a super soldier without any superpowers.
They're back, yeah.
And then like Sam already knew about their abilities beforehand, and he told them like, yo, like you don't want to fight these guys.
Yeah, you rather fight the super soldier.
Yeah, and then the Captain America guy didn't want to listen, and then he's just like whatever, and then he ended up losing the fight. Like, and then he was like, damn, like how did they beat me? And they're not even super soldiers. So I guess it just goes to show a lot of like his mentality just in general. Yeah. And then I really like, and it also made me wonder like if the super soldier serum, because he had that little conversation about like, oh, like what would you do even if it changed you, would you still take it? And then like with all that power, and then his friend said, well, the power just shows the person that you truly are.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I wonder if the super soldier serum is making him be the way that he is right now.
No, because before that, during that scene where he's fighting the Dora Milaje, he hasn't taken the serum yet. That was like a little bit early on. The moment where you know he's taken the serum is when they're fighting in that building and like the stairs and everything like that. That's when you know he's already taken it, because he's already crushing people. And Sam sees him bend a pipe, and then he's like, "What did you do?" And this guy doesn't say. He's like, "They got Lamar." We'll circle back to that. But so to find Carly and the Flag Smashers, they plan to hit up a memorial for that lady that's like the mom figure. Yeah. That was like a cool aspect. They pretty much give Zemo everything so he can get information. However, Zemo is the character that has the most growth in this series. Like
100%. Like that. Now that I think of it, that's actually so true.
This guy is like military operative, crazy fight scenes. He's just different. So he can extract information no problem. So he gets a little kid to help him. By the way, I wouldn't be that kid. Like, I'm not that. I get the candy and just dip. Like, never come back. He's not giving me. But he did give money. Okay, I'll give him that.
But right before the candy, he had like a little poem. Like, how do you feel about that? Like little poem that like he like read out. Do you feel like it was just creepy? I felt like it was creepy, but I didn't understand like I feel like there's something more to that poem.
It's a generic poem. I just can't think of it on top of my head, but it was just like a general like nursery rhyme. It probably has a meaning. Like, you're right. Like, it has some sort of meaning. Maybe that was something that he would do with his kids or something like that. Yeah. Who knows? Well, we can.
In terms of, you were talking about like him going to the kids, talking to the kids, and then, like not being that like girl that goes.
So yeah, in terms of that, like they end up finding a way to get information and meet Carly at the funeral memorial. But Sam wants to go in alone, and he wants to talk to her because he still believes in her for some strange reason. I don't know where he got this belief from, but it shows me like he's more of like Captain America, like Steve Rogers. Mm-hmm. Like, he's willing to talk it out first, and then fight if he has to, if it comes down to it. But the fake Captain America, he's fighting first and asks questions later. But he goes in, and they have some sort of connection right off the bat. Like, I would assume Carly would be more defensive at this point, but they end up talking, and as they're talking, Steve is like questioning her and challenging her mindset and her position, which like it showed a little bit of growth to me.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely could have done a little bit better job, I assume, but
Steve is or Sam.
Sam is questioning Carly, and he's like, "Oh, my friend thinks you're a supremacist," and she's like, "No, like we're doing the opposite." But it's like, what point of view are you looking at it from? So he's pretty much acting like Steve, and then they build a little bit of a connection, and then
I didn't think.
Yeah, and then like I like that. I'm like, okay, he's stepping into the shoes. I always want him to like step into the shoes, and then the fake Cap comes in, and here comes a little bit of a battle.
He couldn't even wait 10 minutes. That guy
was. He's like a drug addict.
Yeah. Honestly, that's why I thought it was like, yo, maybe the serum like messed him up. But I guess at that time he wasn't a super soldier, so I guess that's just his personality.
Oh, and yeah, to that point, like Bucky was questioned at that point, like, don't you want to save your partner? So Bucky's starting to see him as Cap as his partner. As Cap was his partner, he's starting to see Sam as his partner, which is like a cool little growth thing for them. It's kind of, I honestly think it's kind of slow just because we're in the 4th episode.
Yeah, and there's only 2 more episodes.
There's only 2 more episodes. But did you feel the same? Like, did you see Sam like change a little bit, or like being a little different?
I thought he was like I'm sorry, I thought he was dumb. Like, because the way Catherine was moving, I felt like, yo, there's no way that like Carly, she could be, or Carly, sorry, there's no way she could be saved. Like, I just didn't feel like in that moment, I was like, especially when she said, "Oh, and I'd kill again." I'm like, yo, like, I'm sorry, like
you sounded like fake Cap.
No, but Zemo said the same thing too. Zemo says, "Oh, you think you can save her?" Like,
and Zemo's also done some crazy things. Is he right?
That's a good question. You know what, you got.
They're showing Sam as like Captain America, and in that they kind of show like how good Captain America really was.
Zemo did crazy. As far as we know, Zemo, he shot the Doctor, he blew up, he framed the Winter Soldier
by killing an innocent man.
T'Challa. What was his reasoning for killing T'Challa again?
Shit just gotta go. That was his reasoning.
I feel like there had to be a better reason. But
he had to frame Bucky.
Bucky. But in his mind, Bucky's a terrible person to begin with.
Yeah.
So
kill is an innocent man to frame a terrible person, guys.
Didn't Sam ask him about Bucky? He's like, what about Bucky? I think there's a scene where like he's just like Zemo's talking about super soldiers, and then he's like, what about Bucky? He said, what about Cap? He's like, there hasn't been another Captain America. No one like Captain America. And then
he said like, these guys can't. He pretty much said, Zemo was pretty much saying these guys can't change the Flag Smashers. And then Sam says, what about Bucky? You know, things aren't just black and white. He says something similar to those lines, but it cuts frame. He doesn't have a response. He didn't respond to that. Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like Catherine. I genuinely feel like Catherine, like, because Carly. I don't know what I call her. I genuinely feel like Carly can't be like. You can't save her only because of her.
She seemed different though when she was talking to Sam. She seemed a little bit like giddy, like
open.
She went back to open. She was open, and she seemed like a little bit of a kid. And in terms of that, like she was happy to talk to an Avenger.
Yeah.
And then she calls Sarah and gives her like a fake threat. And then she's like, nasty with the fake threat because like it was really believable. Yeah. She's like, yeah, it would suck for Alex or whatever their kid's names was. And then she says, Sam, like I would never hurt your sister. And like to me it's believable. Like maybe it's her acting, but to me it's believable. So there is a little bit of growth. There is a little bit of like
hope for her.
Hope for her, and Sam sees that.
I don't know. I personally don't see that. Maybe she can grow. Like, but I want to see like if she does grow, the plot has to be like perfect. Like she can't go from like. I want to see her go from like packing people to being like, no, we can like no one deserves to be packed. But I understand where she's coming from in terms of like she feels like her and her group of people have been like they're being oppressed right now, and there's 2 options, like do the right thing and stay in oppression and nobody cares about you, or do the wrong thing and get out of oppression. So I feel like she's like tied to she's
fighting his
yeah. So like from Sam's point, like, and I was thinking about this when I was watching the show. Like Sam's point is, like, let me convince her to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But once she does the right thing, like, she's gonna get out of oppression. So I feel like she's like tied to she's fighting his yeah. So like from Sam's point, like, and I was thinking about this when I was watching the show. Like Sam's point is, like, let me convince her to do the right thing. But once she does the right thing, Sam's gonna disappear. And in this show, I've noticed like a trend of like Sam being like, yo, maybe I can help you. Like, let me make a call to help you. And people being like, I'm sorry, like I don't want your help, or I don't believe in your help. Like it's happened a few times. He was when he went to that little like kindergarten school, when he was talking to Sharon, his sister. Like there's just been a trend of him trying to help, and then people being like, no, like there's nothing you can do to help. And I think it just follows the trend of like real life. Like he's gonna offer to help. Like the Avengers say they're helping, but at the end of the day, once they're done like helping, or once you do the right thing, they kind of leave you to do your own thing. Even Captain America did the same thing with Sharon. Like once she helped him, he just left her out to dry. Like and he went back in time without thinking about anybody else. So I just feel like that's the one thing I do like about this, in terms of like them discussing like, oh, like I can't really trust you when it comes to helping, because I feel like the Avengers have built this thing of mistrust with everyone that they've come into contact with, or at least just generally the oppressed people don't believe in the Avengers as much. They just believe that they're there for like the super wealthy, or like Americans, or like the mainstream people.
True. And I think Sarah said something like, I didn't choose that Cap, like this government, this country does nothing for me. That why would my vote matter?
Yeah.
She said something along those lines. So I get your point. And yeah, Captain America did not help Sharon at all. Don't forget dirty. That, guys. That was crazy. Moving on. So, Bucky, like he seemed a little more aggressive. As the show progresses, he seems he's like more aggressive, but he's not like wild. He's not like Winter Soldier. Like I'm just gonna kill everybody, and I don't understand nothing. I don't care what you're saying. I'm killing you. No mind control, but he seems super aggressive. Like he's down to fight. Does that change going forward? Does he become the Winter Soldier like Zemo predicts? I
don't think so, unless I just think he's like over like being that person. Like there's just no part of his character where I see him being like, oh, like let me go back to like being a villain. I just always felt like he just likes being the Winter Soldier.
He likes fighting. Like Captain America. Like they said something about what's it called? There's no need for a soldier if there's no war. Yeah. Yeah, so he's kind of like that.
I feel like he's like that. Like he just likes fighting, but he's not excited to be like a super villain again. But
yeah, and to bring it back to like the first episode, Bucky does see, like when he's talking to his shrink, they end up talking about like how it's peace. He's been pardoned. He can do whatever, and he himself says, "What am I supposed to do? Like if I'm not fighting, what am I supposed to do?" He pretty much says.
Yeah, and then the girl said, again. "Oh, something about you're free again," and he just didn't look free. Yeah. But how do you feel about like, so you have like all these characters, they finally like meet up for the first time, not finally meet up, but like they finally start to work together. I guess it's like taking a few steps back, and obviously we know like it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But seeing like all like the fake Captain America, seeing Sam, seeing Zemo, like all of them like walking together, like how did you feel like the chemistry was? Was it like, oh, like we're gonna finally see these guys work together as a team, or is it just like, damn, like why is this guy here again? Like this guy's always
damn, why is this guy here again? Like if I'm Sam or Bucky, and I like to picture myself as like one of the main characters of the good guys. Yeah. I see Lamar is probably just doing what he's got to do.
Lamar actually gives off that vibe. It's just like
he's just trying to do what he's got to do. I'm just here. But the fake Cap, like he seems like a dickhead. Like that's not what I would be. So in my eyes, I was like, damn, man. Like, why are they allowing him to fight together? Like, what? Like he comes out of nowhere, and they're just like, okay, we're doing this. Like, why don't you just tell this guy a different location, and then go do what you got to do? That was my opinion on it.
I felt like it was like, I was hoping for it to be like kind of cool. Like I was like, oh, this is an opportunity to be like, to kind of be forceful but still be like a likable person. And then he had that like 10-minute like timeout thing. Yeah. And then they started like their little fight. Even because from what I remember, the first fight was still like, it was good guys versus bad guys in that first fight where he was in, and I wanted to be I wanted
to aggressive for no reason.
Yeah, like he was just like doing too much, like super aggressive. So I felt like it was. I don't know. I wanted to be like, yo, I like this guy. Like I like liking the villains in the movie or a TV show, but I couldn't like. I just couldn't like them. Like there's nothing I could do to be like, oh, like I like this guy.
I'm curious, like, as to, are they trying to make us like this guy, or are they trying to make us like sympathize with him, or just hate him? I don't know what they're saying.
I feel like it has to be hate, because even when you first see his costume, you're like, nah, I don't like this guy. Like there was just something so unlikable about him, and all he did was wear the costume. His nose was
cheesing me. I don't know what it was. His nose was pissing me off when they first showed him. When
Lamar dies in that like fight that they had, did you feel like
sympathetic?
To him?
Yeah, cause again, like I think they built it up pretty slowly, but when Sam says, "Hey, I want to talk to Carly," he says, "I was working with soldiers who had not issues, but like mental issues in terms of coming back from the war, or like little breakdowns and things like that." And the camera shifts to Lamar, and he looks at it, and he's looking down. He squints his eyes, so it kind of like hits him. You can see it hits him.
Yeah.
So he might be going through some mental issues as a soldier because he's done some crazy things. They talk about the Afghanistan and the tours that they do, but he's still like a rock hard soldier. He's got his friends back, John Walker. So, like, he's not a super soldier, but he's in this fight. He doesn't really get the glory that Captain America does, or the fake Cap does, and he ends up taking a crazy kick to the chest or punch, whatever it was, and then he's done. Like, he knocks out, he's dead. I'm like, damn.
Lamar should have been the Captain America. Like, he just seems like he would have done that job so much better. Like, he literally seems like that guy that goes to work and goes home after.
But when I guess, but that's not what you want Captain America to be.
I guess, but like the alternative was the evil guy, like Lamar.
And when you allow evil, not evil per se, but when you allow bad things to happen, does that not reflect on your character? He's allowing Captain John Walker to be a dick.
But he sees
crazy things.
When he speaks to John Walker, like I always feel like, man, like this guy must see something that we don't see, cause like he speaks about him like when he asks him like
a really good guy.
Yeah, so he must see he must have seen another side of him that Marvel just hasn't showed us. So like, and honestly, I've been waiting to see that side that Lamar was gonna not Lamar specifically, but that Marvel was gonna show us, and that Lamar was seeing. So when he died, I'm like, well, now we know, like, because he was supposed to be slightly human and relatable before Lamar died, but now obviously he's gonna be like unrelatable and he's gonna turn into a villain. So I'm like, so this was the nice guy. Like before Lamar died, that was the nice character that we got to see. Like that was the nicest version of him. So I was like, when Lamar died, I'm like, the nice small version of him is gone too. So like now we're just gonna get this super villain.
You knew he was going out for revenge when
100%. He wasn't even talking to Lamar for that long. He just like left. And before
Lamar, you're dead, okay.
Before you told me about him like taking the I was about to say the COVID-19 vaccine. Jokes. Before he took the super soldier serum, or before you told me that, I thought he had it in his pocket. So I was like, bro, just use the super soldier serum on Lamar.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought like he still had it like somewhere in his pocket.
So he takes it from the first situation, and to bring up that, like, there goes all my theories. Remember the first episode we discussed? I thought fake Cap and Lamar already took the serum.
Yeah.
That's why he scored out of the charts, but they're gonna have to explain that later on.
I thought so too. I thought he was a super soldier.
So he's not. They're just regular humans. How they held their own and did better than Bucky and Falcon on that first fight. Who knows? You couldn't ask me. But so he pretty much takes one and he hides it in his pocket. The Dora Milaje fuck him up. They go to the mall and he's like, they weren't even super soldiers. That's what he says, and I'm like, yep, this guy's taking it. He could have taken it from the beginning. I'm like, yeah, this guy took it. And thing is, he didn't even share with Lamar.
But he only had one serum.
Why can't you split the serum?
This,
is there a certain dose you need? Like, you could. He didn't even look around for his friends. So
to be honest, he didn't. He seen that one vial, put that one vial, and so like, yeah, I'm out.
I'm always looking for like if it was me and you, I'm like, okay, I got one. Is there another one around? Can we split?
Can we split the serum?
I don't know.
He wasn't doing that.
He wasn't doing that. So he takes that serum.
Do you think he took it after he spoke to Lamar about would you take it?
Yeah.
You think it's like right after?
Right after. And for some reason he thinks he's a good guy. Like, I guess, I don't know, you always think you're a good guy, even if you're a villain.
But he kind of like, when Lamar was talking to him, he kind of sounded like he didn't fully believe he was a good guy. Because he's just like, Lamar, like, what do you say? He's like, what do you, something along the lines of, what do you like about me? Or like, am I like fit for this role? Or something along the lines. And Lamar's like, yeah, you got 3 medals.
3 medals.
Then he's like, well, like, yeah, but like the things we have to do to get those medals, like, I don't think we did the right thing. And
he's like, this is my first chance to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So he, in his mind, we know he's thinking, he's doing well, but he's ass. So he goes, okay, so Lamar dies. He ends up going outside chasing one of the Flag Smashers, and he even says, the Flag Smasher says, it wasn't me. To be honest, I don't even know why the Flag Smashers walked away.
Ran away from him?
Yeah, they did what they were trying to do. They were fighting, and one guy died. Like, that was your goal. That was your goal. Why did you leave?
So I guess their goal is to kill Captain America, but like, the thing is, Carly said I would kill again. Then she kills his friend. Then she's like, "Oh my god! Like I can't like."
Oh my god. We gotta go, guys.
I can't. I was mad confused. I was like, it actually didn't make sense at all.
The other Flag Smashers, it makes sense because they haven't really killed, and we know that because they get shocked when Carly like blows up things like, but they understand like, well, this is the group we are now.
Yeah.
And they have.
She's made it very clear, like, yo, we kill people.
They have Captain America in a lock, and like, they're just like, oh, Lamar died? Fuck, brothers, we gotta go.
That's what I didn't understand. I was watching that, and I was like, this goes back to like why I think this episode is definitely not as good as the last episode, because like that scene should have been like it. I don't know, like it was just terrible. Like that whole makeup was like
sense,
it made zero sense of why she would run away. I can't
believe I forgot. It's trying to paint them as like they're still like humans, and they're not trying. This is not their objective, but like. You've already gone this far.
Yeah.
You've already killed.
And
so
you said you definitely kill again. And the way she said she'd kill again, like, she was for sure. Like, she was like 100%. That's another reason why, like, I was like, yeah, she can't be saved. Because, like, when he asked her, like, oh, like, he didn't even ask her, would you kill again? He just talked to her about something. He's like, yeah, I kill people and I would do it again. He talked to her like
Captain America would talk to her.
Yeah.
But she said she would do it again. But I think she was talking more like, this situation was a roadblock. She said roadblock.
Yeah.
And like, if I wouldn't be able to get to my goals without having to kill these people, so yeah, I'd do it again. And then she said it like in a weird way, so.
She sounded very confident. Like there was no hesitation in that.
Yeah, that's serum confidence.
No booze. Honestly, like now that you brought up that scene, I'm thinking about how crazy it was that they're just like all like, we gotta go, like, and it looked like they didn't look scared. They looked like they regretted
killing him, yeah.
And then like, did Carly run first, or was Carly the first to run away?
No, it was. No, she was last. She was last.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was last. So how'd the guy get caught first? That guy.
I don't know. I guess
you're a super soldier. Like you should be able to run, jump through buildings and stuff. I don't know. That was a weird scene. But in terms of like the serum. So when Zemo was destroying it, he seems sick. So I try to count the actual serums, because like I was saying, they told us that 20 serums were stolen, and that was the max that they had. Including Carly, there was 8 used, so there's 12 left. So I started counting the serums because I thought John Walker and Lamar already took it, and then I counted 7. So I started doing the math. There's a little bit missing. And then in that scene where Carly got shot and it's broken on the floor, Zemo's stepping on him, there's at least like 15 in there. So I don't know. I guess they just messed up.
Miscalculated. So how much do you think, like, did that scene even give you the opportunity to do the math on like how many like scenes are?
No, because there's like 15 there. There's already eight people, and then and fake Cap takes one. Like the math just doesn't add up.
Was too off.
So I guess they didn't care about it. They didn't focus on that, and that's a little detail that just like I wasted my time looking at.
One slight thing we missed in between that scene and when Lamar dies is the power broker calling and saying like, oh, like you're a little girl trying to do like a revolution. I can't remember the exact quote, but like, how do you think she responds to the fact that the power broker is just like now the serum's
You're
gone.
trying to be a revolutionary on borrowed time, little girl.
Yeah, and she took this back, and now the serums are gone, so she can't even give it back to him. So like now she's just like.
And she said, "I'll deal with him later." Like he's something small, but of course he's big. Power broker, like. I think Sharon might be working for him.
You think so?
Yeah, cause she's just like, she's a millionaire out there
in his territory,
and she's like, she's selling stolen art. I guess it's not stolen in the way they look at it, but it's stolen art to us, and she's selling that. Like these are millions of dollars, like top things.
Yeah. And
she's selling that. She has people working under her. And she knows all the information. And on her phone call, as she's talking to Sam, when Sam needs a favor, she's walking through a fully guarded, like military zone, pretty much.
Yeah.
These guys are strapped up with ARs and everything. So, I think she works for the power broker. And you know what? I'm not mad because like, where's Cap? He went to go fuck your grand. I don't know.
Like he had no choice but to be a villain.
Yeah, like I honestly like. I rate her like fuck it, man. Do what you gotta do because these guys didn't give a fuck about you.
Zero. They just left her, and then they didn't come back till they needed her, and they didn't call. Obviously, it's a TV show, so no one calls unless they get needed. Yeah. But he called again. He's like, "Oh," she's like, "Yeah, I know you're calling for a favor or whatever."
For sure. And then
what was the favor? Because I remember I didn't like go back. Like I think he said,
"Let me know where Carly is, or just give me a location, or something along those lines."
And that time when she called him back, like she said, like, "Oh, yeah, she's here."
He messages her. I think on the computer, and he says like, "Let me know where Carly is." I don't know. I rate her because that was just disrespectful what happened to her.
Man, they left her in like what's that island called again? What's that place called again? Madripoor. Like
she has to stay there. And the thing is like even when he was offering like I can make some calls and I can get you like a pardon. Mm-hmm. He was doing that in terms of like an exchange. Like she's like, "Oh, so you're holding my freedom, not hostage, but up for like your sale, pretty much." And then she like the moment she said that, I'm like, she's resentful, for 100%. Sure. And you can't blame her. Like that makes sense. So I hope she's working for the power broker, or she might even be the power broker. That's not what I hope.
If she is the power broker, that would be crazy. Like I wouldn't see that coming.
Yeah, she's bad, so I hope we see more of her. Okay, so moving on to like the main juice of this episode. Fake Cap goes. He finds the guy that ran away first.
Big scene.
I don't know how he got caught. So he finds him, starts beating him up in public, and when he started beating him up, I'm like, this ain't gonna be good. And then he started taking the shield, and he just the guy said it wasn't me, and he's like putting his hand out and just killed him with it. And like this is like it's honestly like some comic book stuff, wouldn't you say? Yeah. So that was cool. Everybody got a recording. Where does he go from here?
I think that scene was like I was like your mind told you like he's about to kill someone, but my mind also told me like this is a Disney movie. Like nothing. It's not gonna be. No one's gonna die.
We just saw witchcraft in
And the other one, but I was like no one really.
About devils and stuff.
No, they did talk about that, but no one really got hurt. Like that's like you can see that in like there's witchcraft in cartoons and stuff like that, but like this one, like when he had the shield like this, I was like
Thanos got his head chopped off.
Oh yeah, he did.
So why wouldn't
I don't know why. I just strongly felt like there might be a chance he didn't do it because of the Disney movies.
No, for sure not.
So after he did it and there was blood on his shield, I was like, oh my god.
There's blood on his shield and he's looking crazy. And even I think Bucky says that he's like, I know crazy when I see it because I'm crazy. So everybody records him and like, what do you think he's thinking in that moment? You just killed. You're fake Captain America. You think you're real Captain America, and you just killed dude. What are you saying? And everybody recorded.
I can't lie. Seeing all the phones, I'd be like, oh my god, like how am I gonna get out of this one? I felt like I literally the first thing I'd be like, yo, what excuse can I come up with? Like, and then the thing is, it depends on when they recorded, but and he's in Latvia. They're in Latvia, right, at the time or something like that. Latveria or something.
Yeah, I think Latvia, Riga, Latvia, but it might have been changed location.
But no, like I felt like I think that situation was like, yo, like he's like, oh, like I messed up. Like, how do you go back and face the States? Like, it's gonna, literally the one thing that he was trying to do and become and represent, like Captain America, like that's all in the past now. So like,
he actually shitted on that legacy because now other countries are gonna be like, this is Captain America. Yeah, this is the U.S. just doing exactly what the U.S. does. So
terrible legacy. He left a terrible legacy behind, and I don't think like, I wonder how he goes back to the country and what happens. Like now all those 3 medals don't mean anything, and then the thing is, all the things he was holding on to prove that he was a good person are gone now. Like his goal of being the next Captain America, the fact that like the military like finds him to be renowned, all that is gonna be like gone, and like it's all done for now. But now I want to see what his motivations are. Like I wonder if he's gonna be like, I'm gonna chase Carly, or if he's gonna be like I feel like it's definitely gonna be strongly revenge, but I wonder if it's gonna be revenge in, I gotta do this revenge for in a good way. I know revenge is bad, but some people can justify it, or if it's, I don't care if it's unjustifiable, I have to get revenge.
I think he's gonna be, like, revenge is gonna be a little bit of a thing, but I think it's gonna be him trying to fix his fuck up. I think that's what it is. He's gonna try to do things that help his image in his mind. Like, oh, I have to do this because I just messed up big. And then it's just going to make it worse and worse. And then he's just going to give in to just being like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And then he's just going to lose it. And just go crazy, like Bucky says.
If he does do that and becomes a villain, I wonder if he'll last, like, multiple seasons, or if he'll be done, like...
Is this show going to be multiple seasons?
I heard
no. I think
no.
It's the only one that can be.
I heard no. But there's only 2 episodes left. Like there's 2 episodes left, and I feel like the story like hasn't even progressed.
It's just
starting. Yeah. So like we're about to get into like a season finale. So I feel like
maybe episode 5 and 6 are gonna be crazy. Who knows?
I don't know. Like I feel like we got one good episode, and we're on episode. We just finished episode 4. We got 5 and 6. We got one good episode.
Out of 4 is 25%.
And then like the finale is gonna be like. A finale is after like you care about like everything that's happening, and then you're just like, oh my god, like the story's so sick, like this is like the end of it. And I just don't understand like how they could do that. Like they have one episode to set up the finale.
True.
So like I feel like they don't have that much time to like set up like the thing that's gonna be like the most amazing episode.
So what would you rate this episode comparing it to other episodes?
I feel like
I personally liked it. I don't know.
You liked it? I liked it. Did you like it more than episode 3?
A little bit, yeah. In terms of plot, yeah. It was cooler things happening with Zemo and everything, but in terms of like a plot, like I like this.
Like it drove her forward more.
Yeah.
I felt like it was lazy. Like, I'll compare it. I guess we don't talk about these other TV shows, but I'll compare it to another TV show like Power. I feel like if the writers of Power like wrote this, like Power discusses like the same themes. I feel like it's this they discuss the same themes of being good and evil at the same time, which they talk about this a lot in the show.
Yeah.
Almost everyone, Sam is the only person who's not considered good and evil at the same time. Obviously, and you have the people from Wakanda, so they're like mostly good. But like as like the reoccurring characters, Sam is slated to be like he's the only person that's like just a good guy. Like everyone else, even Sharon is like hinted that she's not 100% good. So like I feel like. With Power, it was great at having like complete villains, but like making them likable, and then like people battling with themselves and being like good and bad at the same time. But I feel like with this show, like the reason why episode 4 was supposed to portray like being good and bad at the same time, but like I felt like it kind of failed with their characters in making me feel like this person's good, but they're also bad. Like, but I understand why they're like bad. So like. That's why I felt like episode 3 did what it was supposed to do in terms of... Episode 3 was about introducing Zemo, like if we're being honest. So I felt like episode 3 did its thing in terms of like, yo, like this is Zemo, this is his character, like him, and like I felt like I wish they did that with more characters. Even Sharon, like they kind of explained her backstory and stuff, but I felt like episode 3 was just more powerful in that sense. Episode 4, I feel like the things that carry it is that so much has happened like in this specific episode that it's like a memorable episode. Like you can say like this happened, like he Sam talked to Carly, the new Captain America killed somebody, like so you see so much more happen that you're like, well, it has to be a good episode because like we've seen so much. I don't know, that's what
So you're saying there's too much fanfare?
100%. I feel like even the fight with the Wakandans, what are the groups called again?
Dora Milaje.
The Dora Milaje. Even the fight with the Dora Milaje, it was interesting. Don't get me wrong, but it was definitely set up to be like fanfare, like with the Dora Milaje. Like I wish it transitioned faster. So I'm just like, oh, like they're fighting instead of like, oh, okay, like they're about to like show us like something that like the fans want. Like it was kind of noticeable that like this scene was meant for like the Marvel like fans and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that, and honestly, they hit it with me. Like I like that shit. Like
I like that scene.
I wanted to see like the Wakandans. I really want to know what happens because Black Panther was like one of the best movies, one of the top movies in Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And
they also had a really good villain.
They had an awesome villain.
Killmonger was an amazing
awesome villain, and then like Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. He's a really good actor. So he was amazing. I feel like everybody in that movie hit their roles well.
100%.
So, and it was like an all black cast, and it's like really new and like refreshing.
It was like nothing we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and then seeing them come back and like with his passing, with the 5-year blip, like I'm just like, giddy to see what happened. Like I want an explanation. I'm anything that comes my way, I'm like, that was sick. So I get the fanfare portion, but I'm definitely rating this one slightly higher. I'll say if the last episode was 8.3, I'll rate this at 8.4. Not, I don't even know what I'm rating the other one, but I'm just saying.
Like it's just slightly
give
better.
It the edge. Yeah, I'll give it the edge. The first episode was mad slow. Second episode a little bit more funny, I guess. A little slow too. What about the next episode? How do you think the next episode is gonna go? Is it better? Is it gonna be better or worse? In my prediction from last episode, I said they would have the Shield by this episode or next episode. So I got one left. Episode? Yeah.
Unless Captain America becomes an international criminal, and they're chasing him while he's chasing Carly, like I don't think the next episode could like really do much. Like I feel like it's gonna be another thing where they kind of set things up for episode 6. So I feel like next episode is not gonna be as like amazing. Like I felt like episode 5 should have like continued the momentum, but I feel like the momentum is dead now. So maybe they could, but I just don't see it like I don't see it happening. Oh, I was gonna ask.
So you think it's gonna be worse than this episode? Next episode?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be worse because like there's not as much that they can do with the next episode. Like I feel like it's kind of gonna.
Hopefully you're wrong.
If I'm wrong, then I'll be happy. Like I want to watch the episodes and be like, yo, like this is sick. Like I want to talk about it with this person.
So you don't think that there's like things can progress or you're saying that it's limited in things that can progress in this series? What do you think can happen though? Like what do you have any ideas?
Like obviously like the Shield, like they kind of hinted at the Shield being taken away. I want to see like Carly kind of like go more in depth with like challenging decisions. Now actually I was gonna like take it a step back. So you know how we see Carly run away after Lamar dies?
Yeah.
Maybe that was the first time she's actually killed someone and seen it for herself. So maybe
rather than just a bomb or something.
Yeah, like cause like we talked about this before. Like, would you rather shoot someone or stab someone? Everyone says I'd rather shoot because you pull the trigger and then they die. But when you stab someone, you have to actually like go in and like do most of the work.
You gotta feel it because you can feel the blade.
Yeah, like there's just too much with it. So
you gotta be sicko to do that shit.
I feel like the UK men they're just different. Like, but I wonder if like she's like, yo, she's seen that and she's like, oh, like I don't know if this is for me. So I want to see her like actually make like a challenging decision. Like I want to see her.
Honestly, you're right. They should. I want to see that too, and they should have done that from like they should have done that from like episode 3 or 2.
Going back to another thing you talked about, episode 1, and you said like when they introduce these characters, like are they even worth like introducing?
I didn't give a shit, yeah.
Like now that you like, it's amazing that you brought that up because like now that I think about episode 1, like him going on that date with like that Asian girl, like the therapist is kind of like in the like. In history, basically, like
Torres is gone.
Like,
bro, where are these guys?
They wasted so much film time, like, with that. So I don't understand, like, why. Especially like if you're Marvel. When you're Marvel, you have so much like, there's so many strings that you can pull. Mm-hmm. Like people are gonna watch you regardless. So you don't have to have an action scene in the first episode that doesn't mean anything because. Like people are gonna watch the show whether you have the action scene in the first episode or not. Like people are gonna watch the episode.
But with that being said, like Marvel fans, like a lot of them, they want to see that stuff. I honestly didn't like. I don't care too much. Like I'll see it and I won't see it. It's not a big deal for me. I like the plot in the movies more.
Way more.
So when these people said, "Oh,
WandaVision,"
the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier was better than the entirety of WandaVision or the first 2 episodes, you could tell right away that. They're just Marvel fans because they just want to see the action. They don't care about the story or the in-depth. It's just the action. Like, action is cool when it's built up. There's stakes that are like high stakes. And characters are already fleshed out, like what their powers are.
Yeah.
And their meaning to each other and the story. But in terms of just fighting, like, go watch Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious. They do some crazy shit there too. Like,
that literally, like, I feel like, and Marvel fans have to remember, like, the way you make a good TV show is not the same way that you make a good movie. Like, a movie needs action because you're in theaters, you have, like, these high action moments, like, it feels like it's right in your face, like, you want to feel like you're, like, you want to feel like a rise in emotion just based off the action, like, on the movie screen. But, like, when you watch a TV show, it's more about suspense, like, with the characters, and, like, creating suspense, like, with the characters and drama of what's going on and then like feeling like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Like that's more so tied to TV shows than it is movies. That's another reason why WandaVision was so good because they had like scenes that are like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Like what's going on? Like there's so much tied to like the suspense of it that made it good.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. TV show wise too, like, and that gave us like a little bit of a week to like come up with some theories. Like we have weeks for these Falcon and Winter Soldier, but like it's not like a cliffhanger. Or there's not like a bunch of Easter eggs to like point to like, oh, this could be the villain. Like we've already been given the villains. Mm-hmm. We've already been given the heroes. We already know what's going on. We just don't know how it's gonna unfold yet. Mm-hmm. So it's less of like interesting to discuss.
100%. I feel like it's less like I never felt the need. Well, I guess because of podcasts, like me and you don't talk about TV shows, but I never really felt the need to like. Oh, like, yo, like, I have to talk to this about this episode, or, like, this show just doesn't have that.
Of this show?
Of this show,
yeah. Like, I can wait to talk to you. Before the WandaVision, like, yo, you have to watch this, because I just want to talk about this. And, like, it makes me, like, I'm not a good reader, so I'm not into comic books right away, but I'm trying to get into it more and more. But it makes me go back into, like, oh, this was mentioned. Does this have anything to do with it? Or if somebody on YouTube says, oh, well, Agatha was Agnes Harkness, so go read up on her. You go check, like, she was a witch. She helped Wanda. She was a mentor in some aspects, and she was a villain in some aspects. So that stuff was super cool to me. Mm-hmm. And then they actually show her and her backstory and how strong she is. That shit's sick.
And the plot, like, and the characters were believable. Like, Agatha being a villain was believable. Like, her being good at that time and pretending to be good, and then when she became a villain, it didn't feel like, oh, they kind of forced her being a villain. Like, you could kind of see her character being able to front as being, like, a good person, but also being a villain. Like, that character was, like, very believable. Her cause was believable. Like, everything about that was, like, I thought was really good. Like, I just felt like they just did a good job with, like, every single character in that show, or a majority of the characters in that show, they did a good job with. The only thing I didn't like is when the people that were brainwashed, I felt like there's times when I felt like they could have been a little bit angrier, but I don't know. But other than that,
they were more scared than anything or crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yo, imagine being in prison for, like weeks and like imprisonment where like mentally and physically you can't do what you want to do.
And you're just like watching it. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the only thing you can do, like these guys see her as, not a god, but like godlike figure.
Yeah, that's true.
So like that, like not in terms of like worshiping, but in power. So they're scared of her. So I understood that part. In Falcon, like all I could do is, like the first episode it was Torres. You look up Torres and then, oh, this guy takes up the mantle. This guy's cool. Like he seemed like a nice actor too. So I'm like, you know what?
He seemed like he'd be perfect in the show.
Like, good young kid. Like he's trying to learn. He knows things. He's like Tom Holland-esque.
Yeah.
In a manner. So I was like, you know what? They'd be sick to, man. They dropped him off. Like what the fuck, man.
Like to the point of like why introduce him or spend so much time like getting us attached to this character.
Yeah. So like again, it's just like I don't know. Expecting what's next? Like what's gonna happen in the next episode? You know what? I hope they end up teasing or drop an Easter egg on the Shang-Chi movie. So that's dropping September. They might not do it, but yeah, I hope they drop that because I don't know the scheduling in terms of recording the movies. But Shang-Chi drops in September. If they can, the Mandarin, maybe the Power Broker knows the Mandarin. Maybe we see a ring because of the 10 rings.
That would be pretty cool.
Something cool like that, just hinting towards something next because I might be a little over this series.
I actually feel like, I mean, like this series is like exhausting. Like when I was watching, I was like, at the time I just finished an assignment and I couldn't get it done. I was like, I'm gonna just sit back and watch this episode.
Because it's not a big deal. Like the stuff that's going on it doesn't matter.
It doesn't feel significant within the show and within like the plot. Like other than Lamar dying, like that was like the biggest part. And like Zemo obviously like being introduced to the story, that was like another big part. But
damn,
I feel like
negative right now.
It
could get better. 2 episodes.
2 episodes, we'll see. I don't know. I feel like I'm super excited. I'm already excited for the Black Widow, so we'll see what happens. I feel like the Black Widow will be like amazing.
Well, I hope you're right because I wasn't expecting that answer. I didn't think you said fire like, all caps.
Unless they showed me all the good things that are in the trailer, because sometimes they do. The trailer was kind of long, to be honest. When I was watching, I was like, they're showing me a lot here. I stopped the trailer like maybe 30 seconds early. Because I was like, yo, there's a lot of scenes in here that like maybe I shouldn't know about. But I was looking at it, I was like, nah, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be like interesting. I hope they don't like flop on it. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think they try to do a lot. And then like now they realize like, oh man, we only got 6 episodes. So, like, we can't cut all these people off from the first episode. We gotta get to the story. We gotta get to the story. So like, and then yeah, like, but we'll see. Like, hopefully, I know you're more optimistic. You like this episode a little bit more. Hopefully, like 5 and 6 is like
up there.
There.
I hope too. But all right, guys, I think that's a wrap for this episode. If you have any thoughts or comments of your own or ideas, just leave them in our comment section on our YouTube channel, R&B Reviews. But I want to say, like, we aim to get better with these podcasts in terms of video quality, audio. We're trying to get our mics and everything, all that ready. So we're going to be improving slow and steady, so be patient with us. We hope that you like these conversations because we're aiming to be as genuine as possible. We're trying not to talk to each other about any of this because we're saving it for the podcast.
For just the podcast. This is like 99% of the things we talk about are like the first time we're speaking of it is like right here on this couch. So that's it. Like we're just trying to get as much content out as possible and then hopefully branch off into like other things.
Yeah, so thanks for listening